Just Hits is something that I started 2009. I mean, I've always had a vision for wanting to do something different. I grew up in the area. Other facilities were around. They were prevalent. I didn't notice the real personal connection there.
And you went to St. Joe's Montvale,
I went to St. Joe's Montvale.
Which was the #1 ranked high school program in America, and one of the seasons recently,
Absolutely,
right? Had
absolutely.
Kaminsky, who was the #1 first-round draft pick.
First-round draft,
right?
Yes.
So it was an incredibly competitive, phenomenally successful high school program. Yes?
Correct, correct.
Okay, and that's your high school program.
That's my high school
And you
program.
had an outstanding career there.
Correct, correct. Yeah, I
Okay.
hit 523 and I had 6 home runs. I was all state there as well, and it allowed me to propel a career into Liberty University, Division I program in college. And from there, I received a hit record, fielding record, and from there, I played pro ball for 4 years. One was with the Houston Astros, and 4 other seasons in independent pro ball. But all that's well and good. But
And we also have the connection that I was, as I say sometimes, captain of the Columbia baseball team.
Correct, right.
And I have a hereditary eye problem that kept me from getting drafted.
That's exactly right.
My retinitis pigmentosa condition.
Right.
But I will tell you this in a heartbeat. Very few people I've ever had work with my son on hitting have I ever felt like they know more than me. I've really only worked with people because it's an outside voice to help my son. With Mike, I defer to Mike because Mike knows more than me. And I'm somebody who was in the top 10 hitters Division I in the country my junior year,
Right.
3/4 of the way through the season. I still have the little USA Today clipping. So I love hitting. I know hitting.
Right.
Mike knows more hitting than me. So
Well, I appreciate that. It's not all me. I mean, look, Butch Hobson was my manager. Brooks Robinson was an influence. Maury Wills helped me a ton in my career. I mean, these are names. I mean, Andy Etchebarren, right? He caught Sandy Koufax. I mean, these are guys that just really helped me out as far as my career goes in understanding the intricacies. I would pick their brains a lot. I mean, after games, maybe we'd go out or hang out. That stuff helped. You know, if you're around these guys and they have the experience, and Butch and Maury managed big league organizations. I mean, come on, you're being taught by the best. They're right here. I'm playing for these guys. I mean, how can I not ask them? So I just chose to really pick their brains and learn as much as I could about not only the swing, but also, you know, character and how to carry yourself. And
So
I just said, you know what, if I'm going to do this with the baseball and softball lessons, it needs to be done right. And not right in the sense of, you know, how much money can I make? That can't be the priority.
And by the way, nothing wrong with making money.
Correct.
Change your value for what you do. So
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. So if your focus is right and your intentions are good and you have a set plan, that will come along with it.
Because I'm sure everybody watching this video would like to, many of the people watching this video would like to make more money
Absolutely.
in less time with a greater level of fulfillment,
Correct.
which is what I believe that everybody wants. Either more money, more time, or greater fulfillment,
Right.
which includes, by the way, more passion, more legacy,
That's the
more
thing.
love, more
Prioritizing,
joy. Right. Yeah,
you
so-
know, and understanding that. I mean, I
Right.
think that's so huge. So I just said, you know, I need to do this right for this to be successful. That's it. So I'm looking at the industry and what it entails. I see these kids, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be known as a guy who's just a great instructor. That's not a legacy. That's not enough. I think I've come to the realization that it's so important for these kids to be able to go all in for them and be able to be there on 3 different levels. You know, the FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, they compose a term of 3D coaching, which is first dimensional of mechanics, which is like 90% of coaches and what they do.
And when I met you, right, this is going back a couple years now.
Correct.
And the results of my son have been absolutely phenomenal. And I'm so grateful to you, Mike, for that.
Thank you.
And I don't say that lightly. Like, we're going to do a lot of these talks. I'm not going to falsely promote anyone. I'm telling you,
Right.
Mike has a profound impact on my son in all 3 dimensions he's about to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time I met you, you were telling about mechanics, which I was interested in,
Sure.
very interested in.
Right.
But I didn't know how much more, and even more important than mechanics, things that you could bring to the table. So,
Correct.
3D, mechanics 1.
So mechanics 1, 2, psychology. I mean, in order to have this kid understand what the mechanics are, and just mechanics alone aren't enough. I mean, you have to explain what they're doing wrong, why they're doing it wrong, how to fix stuff. It's very easy to say, oh yeah, good job, oh just do this because I said so. There's no weight in that. You know, someone else can come along and say the same thing.
I don't want to underplay the mechanics because
Right.
your distinctions on mechanics
Mhm.
have been invaluable. And yes, there's a humongous difference between how you teach mechanics and other things that I've seen. And I'm not saying there's nobody else out there who knows mechanics,
Right.
but your level of mechanical instruction far beyond anything I've seen. And I've been
Thank
a lot
you.
of places, you know,
Thank
with
you.
my son.
Thank
So
you. I think when you incorporate math and physics into the mechanics, there are factual evidence to back up what you teach, as opposed to just saying, this is what I'm teaching, why do you teach this? Well, because the other coach taught me. there has to be more validity than that.
And I'm going to tell you this, pause, completely for like non-baseball people, for people who are listening for business purposes. I am telling you, I had a conversation with one of the attorneys that work with me, Matt Major. Matt had an amazing accomplishment this year, won a Third Circuit appeal, which is the level just below the Supreme Court, as a young attorney, which is just virtually unheard of, achieving that. Wow. And Matt and I were talking about the fact that most people don't, in their profession, work on developing their skills. So I'm going to challenge Mike today a little bit in some of our conversation for how much he's working on his skill development as a business owner. He's a great business owner, but we all have room for growth in our skill development, just like he talks mechanics in baseball. But go ahead. So mechanics, and he said psychology.
Mechanics, psychology. Psychology, definitely the second tier. I mean, you have to be able to get into the player's mind. You have to be able to let him understand and truly believe, set goals. That's part of that second tier. So if you're just an instructor who's giving mechanics, okay, great. But if you're not having him have vision, which is be able to bridge from one side to the other, right? That's going to allow him to then take his game to a whole new level. So the psychology is definitely number 2. Number 3 is the heart. You have to reach the kid's heart. So how does that happen? Well, you have to pour everything out there. You have to be able to be 24/7 accessible if that's the case. If this kid reaches out to me, I mean, listen, I've had situations where I've had a kid at midnight say, I'm very uncomfortable right now, I'm at a party, there's a lot of drinking going on, what do I do? I mean, if I don't pour myself out there to allow the kid to be accessible like that, he doesn't reach out to me. What does he do? Does he succumb to peer pressure? Is he going to call his parents? He's going to be awkward. He's not going to do that. That's the reality.
Right.
So as a leader and a mentor, I need to be there for this kid in all aspects. If he does something with drinking, he gets in trouble with the law, what are we doing this baseball thing for? It's a moot point, right? So there's so many other avenues and aspects, I think. So all 3 dimensions, if you want to do this right, you have to put yourself out there. In doing so, it's also going to be to where your time is going to be limited. I mean, you get kids reaching out to you and saying, hey, I got this, I got that. You have to limit and know what's very pertinent and needs to be dealt with now, what is not. And to be able to do that to that level is really what allows you to have that personal bond, and then they say, it's more than just a lesson.
Yeah.